Some sounds just, they stick with you. They do more than just make noise. They seem to communicate something deeper, something words don't quite capture.
Yeah, absolutely. And our source material today really gets into that, suggesting that sometimes sound says more than words. It can set a whole mood.
It really can. And the text we're looking at suggests that a specific sound, maybe just a few notes, or even the quiet before the sound, it can signal that, okay, something meaningful is about to begin.
Sets an expectation, doesn't it?
Exactly. And that specific sound is what we're digging into today. We're unpacking the signature sound described in this source for Lóng Tíng Enterprises and their podcast.
Okay.
Our goal here is just to understand what this sound is supposed to mean based purely on the text we've got. This text is our guide.
And the source is quite specific about its role. It stresses this is more than just a podcast intro. It's framed as the signature sound of Lóng Tíng Enterprises, a key branding anchor.
That phrase, key branding anchor, definitely jumps out. It suggests, well, a lot of weight is being put on this sound.
It does. A big job for just a few seconds of audio, potentially.
So let's break down how the source actually describes it. It mentions creating that feeling of anticipation, right? A clear signal that something significant is starting.
Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting is how broad the source claims its reach is. It says it echoes through cultures, generations, and visions. That's quite ambitious for a sound.
It is, and it's presented as this blend, this mix of the wisdom of the past with the pulse of tomorrow.
So trying to bridge time, essentially. Not just old or new, but both together.
Right. And the core message, the source says, this sound carries, well, it's pretty direct.
It says it carries the soul of our mission to connect with your future. And it even includes the specific phrase. Let me find it. And the source helpfully provides the meaning right there. Your future is connected with us. So the sound is intended to embed that specific idea, that mission, directly for the listener. Yeah, linking the sound itself to the company's purpose and, importantly, to your future, the listener's future. The source also mentions the composer, Daniel Zea from Chile, adds a bit of background.
Okay, so we know who made it, but what about the sound itself? The text gives a pretty vivid picture of how it sort of unfolds.
It does. It paints it as a kind of transformation. It apparently starts softly, like a whisper from the mountains, suggests something maybe ancient or subtle.
Okay, grounded.
And then the source says it builds. It rises to become clear and confident, like the roar of a dragon awakening. So it goes from quiet potential to, well, a powerful statement.
A whisper to a roar. That's quite the dynamic range. So we have its purpose, its scope, its message, its journey. But what does the source say this sound is meant to do for you, the person hearing it?
Right, the listener experience. The source highlights two main things. First, it says the sound opens the space between silence and story. Like it clears the way, prepares your mind to listen, maybe.
Interesting, like hitting play in your head before the content starts. What's the second function?
The second one is maybe more direct. The source claims it reminds you, you've arrived.
You've arrived.
Yeah. Specifically welcoming you to the podcast, saying this is the place where every episode begins with intention and every voice is part of the journey. The sound is basically your signal that you're here in that space.
Okay, that's a lot of meaning packed into a sound. It makes you wonder, why invest so much thought, so much description into what might just be a few seconds of audio?
Well, reading this source, it suggests a really deliberate attempt to create a feeling, right? A sense of place, of purpose, right from the very first sound you hear.
So when you, the listener, encounter this sound, reading this description, what are you maybe supposed to feel or think? Does that idea of a sound connecting with your future, does that resonate based on this text?
I think the source wants it to resonate. It's trying to make the sound itself embody this whole story the brand tells, bridging time, connecting to a mission, and putting you, the listener, right in the middle of that journey.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. Based only on this source text we've looked at, this Lóng Tíng signature sound isn't just, some jingle.
Totally not.
It's presented as this really intentional piece of branding. It's designed to communicate powerfully, anchor the brand's mission, connect the past and future.
And connect directly with you, the listener, by signaling you've arrived.
Right. Which brings us to a final thought, straight from the source material itself.
Yeah.
If the sound is meant to tell you you've arrived, as the source says, where exactly does this text suggest you have arrived? Considering that whole journey it describes, from the whisper to the roar, and the mission to connect with your future, What does that arrival imply about your journey forward, according to the source?
That's a really interesting question to leave people with.
Yeah.
Where have you arrived and what comes next on that path?